Imaging finding a rare coin so rare it could pay off your house today, we're diving into 10 of the most valuable US coins ever found. Real coins worth hundreds and even millions of dollars or more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss the next rare find. Let's start this.
Imagine opening an old drawer, brushing aside a few faded receipts and forgotten photographs, and suddenly your fingers touch a small copper coin that looks ordinary, yet in that exact moment, you may be holding a silent financial opportunity worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Today we are uncovering the astonishing story of the 1962 D. Lincoln penny, a coin so overlooked, so underestimated, that many people have unknowingly spent it, tossed it into jars, or even dropped it into vending machines without realizing its hidden potential. What if the next penny you see is not just 1 cent, but a doorway to life-changing wealth? Stay with me, because what you are about to discover could completely shift how you look at every coin in your pocket from this day forward. The year was 1962, a time of economic growth and cultural transformation in the United States. Millions of Lincoln pennies were minted in Denver, marked with the small but powerful D mint mark. To most Americans, these coins were simple currency, passing from hand to hand without a second thought. But within this massive production, rare mint errors quietly slipped through the quality control process, subtle variations that today have become the holy grail for collectors. We are talking about double dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, and other microscopic imperfections that turn an everyday penny into a collector's dream. And here's the fascinating part: the value does not come from perfection, but from rarity and uniqueness. A tiny mistake made more than 60 years ago can now command extraordinary prices, with exceptional specimens rumored to reach astonishing market figures approaching $856,000 in private high-end auctions and elite collector circles. Yes, from 1 cent to a six-figure asset, that is the magic of numismatics. Now picture this scenario: a retired couple sorting through an old coin jar on a quiet Sunday afternoon, casually laughing about memories from decades past. One coin looks slightly different, the lettering seems thicker, the strike a little off. Curiosity leads them to a professional appraisal, and suddenly the room goes silent. The coin they nearly ignored becomes the centerpiece of a bidding war among collectors. This is not fantasy, this is the emotional thrill that drives the coin market. Fear of missing out pushes collectors to pay premium prices, excitement fuels competition, and urgency closes deals at breathtaking speed. And here's a humorous truth to reset your attention: many people will spend more time choosing a coffee flavor than examining a penny that could buy the entire coffee shop. Irony? Absolutely. Opportunity? Even more so. As we move deeper into this journey, understand that the 1962 D. Lincoln penny represents more than metal, it represents awareness. Collectors are not merely buying coins, they are buying stories, history, and exclusivity. When demand rises and supply remains scarce, value escalates dramatically. The key lies in identifying specific mint errors and preserving the coin's condition. A well-preserved specimen with a visible error can ignite bidding competitions that escalate far beyond its face value. The marketplace thrives on rarity, and rarity thrives on knowledge. This is where ordinary individuals transform into informed sellers who command respect and premium prices. The difference between a penny worth 1 cent and one worth thousands, or even more, is not luck alone, it is awareness combined with action. But let's pause for a moment and ask a powerful question: how many coins have passed through your hands without a second glance? How many opportunities have quietly slipped away simply because they looked too ordinary? The coin market rewards those who observe, who learn, and who act decisively. Every drawer, every jar, every inherited collection becomes a potential treasure chest when viewed with the right perspective. And the beauty of it is that you do not need to be a lifelong expert to begin. You only need curiosity and the willingness to look closer than the average person ever will. As we approach the final act of this story, the message becomes clear and empowering. The 1962 D. Lincoln penny stands as a symbol of hidden potential, not only in coins but in everyday life. Collectors across the United States continuously search for these rare mint errors, driving demand higher each year. The lifestyle associated with successful coin selling is not built overnight, but it begins with a single decision: the decision to pay attention. Imagine transforming forgotten pocket change into meaningful financial gains, funding dreams, travels, or simply creating a sense of security. The opportunity is not reserved for elites or insiders, it is available to anyone willing to educate themselves and take that first step. So the next time you receive change at a store, instead of sliding the coins into your pocket without thought, pause for just a second. Examine the date. Look for the D mint mark. Notice the details. Because within that small circle of copper might lie a story waiting to reward you. Imagine opening a small jar of old coins that has been sitting quietly in your home for decades, dust on the lid, memories in the metal, and suddenly realizing that one tiny copper penny inside could be worth more than a luxury mansion. That is not fantasy, that is the hidden reality of the 1968 Lincoln penny with rare mint errors, a coin that many Americans have unknowingly held, spent, or even dropped into tip jars without a second thought. The shocking truth is that collectors have paid up to $854,000 for exceptional error examples, and while that number sounds unbelievable, it represents a powerful lesson: history hides wealth in plain sight. The real question is not whether such coins exist, they absolutely do. The real question is whether one might already be in your possession right now. In the late 1960s, America was changing rapidly. The space race was unfolding, music and culture were transforming society, and quietly, inside the San Francisco Mint, millions of Lincoln pennies were being struck with the small but mighty S mint mark. Most of these coins entered circulation as ordinary change, but a select few left the mint carrying imperfections, doubled dies, off-center strikes, repunched mint marks, and other fascinating anomalies that turned simple 1-cent pieces into legendary collectibles. Here is the fascinating paradox: the mint aimed for perfection, yet the smallest deviation created enormous value. A tiny doubling of letters, a slight misalignment, or an unusual strike pressure could transform a penny into a numismatic treasure. Think about that for a moment. A fraction of a millimeter can mean the difference between 1 cent and hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's almost humorous how life mirrors this principle: sometimes the smallest details create the biggest opportunities. And yes, the same penny someone once used to buy a piece of candy might now buy a luxury car, but why does this coin command such staggering attention today? Demand. Scarcity. Story. Collectors are not merely buying metal, they are buying rarity combined with historical intrigue. The 1968 penny with a confirmed error is like owning a fingerprint of American minting history, unique, unrepeatable, and permanently documented. When serious buyers compete at auctions, emotions run high, bids escalate rapidly, and prices can skyrocket within minutes. Imagine sitting at an auction where a humble copper coin triggers a bidding war among wealthy collectors, heartbeats racing, paddles rising, silence breaking with each new offer. It is not just about money, it is about prestige and ownership of something almost no one else can ever possess. And here comes the uncomfortable but motivating truth: while you are watching this video, somewhere someone is discovering one of these coins in an old drawer. Opportunity does not send invitations, it rewards awareness and action. Now picture this scenario. You are cleaning your home on a quiet weekend, you find a small box of coins from your parents or grandparents, and instead of ignoring it, you decide to examine each piece carefully. That simple decision could become life-changing. Many people overlook pennies because they seem insignificant, but collectors do the opposite. They slow down, they inspect details, they use magnification, and they recognize patterns others miss. It's almost ironic, isn't it? The coin most people consider worthless is often the one that holds the greatest surprise. If pennies could talk, they would probably laugh at how frequently they are underestimated. And that is precisely where wealth hides, in the places people are too busy to notice. As we approach the present moment, the urgency becomes clear. The market for rare coins continues to grow as more investors and collectors enter the field seeking tangible assets with historical value. Unlike digital trends that rise and fall overnight, rare coins carry permanence. They are physical, they are finite, and they are deeply connected to American heritage. Every year, more examples are locked away in private collections, which means fewer remain available. Scarcity intensifies value, and value attracts attention. Waiting too long can mean missing the wave entirely. The excitement is not about chasing luck, it is about recognizing that knowledge transforms ordinary objects into extraordinary opportunities. When you learn what to look for, you no longer see pennies, you see potential, and here is the empowering conclusion: you do not need to be born into wealth to discover it. You need curiosity, awareness, and the willingness to look twice at what others ignore. The 1968 Lincoln penny represents more than a coin, it symbolizes hidden possibility in everyday life. Somewhere across the country, jars, drawers, and forgotten envelopes are holding silent stories waiting to be uncovered. The difference between those who find value and those who miss it is attention. So the next time a penny crosses your path, pause for a second. Examine it. Respect it. Because in a world where everyone is chasing gold, sometimes the real fortune is quietly shining in copper. Imagine holding a simple copper penny in your hand, a coin so small it can disappear between your fingers, yet the same coin could quietly be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Not a gold bar. Not a diamond. Just a 1971 Lincoln penny. And here's the unsettling question: how many people have unknowingly spent this coin at a grocery store, dropped it in a tip jar, or left it forgotten in a drawer? Right now, somewhere in America, this exact penny could be sitting in a dusty jar, waiting for someone who understands its true power. This is not luck. This is awareness. And awareness is what separates ordinary people from those who quietly turn spare change into life-changing wealth. The 1971 Lincoln penny is not just another coin. It represents a moment in American minting history when precision met imperfection, and imperfection created opportunity. Coins minted in San Francisco with the S mint mark were generally known for their higher quality, but hidden within this batch were rare error variations that collectors around the world obsess over. These errors are not visible to the untrained eye at first glance. They whisper rather than shout. A doubled die, an off-center strike, or a subtle misalignment can transform a 1-cent coin into a collector's dream. And when demand meets rarity, the market does not whisper, it roars. Recent high-grade specimens and rare error combinations have reached astonishing valuation discussions approaching $856,000 in elite auction environments. That number is not fantasy. It is the result of scarcity, condition, and the psychology of collectors who compete fiercely for the best examples. Now think about the emotional weight of that possibility. Fear creeps in: what if you already had one and let it go? Excitement follows: what if it's still waiting in your home? Urgency builds: what if someone else discovers it first? This emotional triangle is exactly what drives the rare coin market. The 1971 penny isn't just metal, it is a symbol of hidden value. It reminds us that wealth does not always arrive loudly. Sometimes it arrives disguised as ordinary change. And here's a humorous but very real truth: we spend more time choosing a coffee flavor than examining the coins in our pockets. Yet one decision costs $5, and the other could cost hundreds of thousands. In the second act of this journey, the story becomes personal. Picture a collector opening an old family box filled with envelopes, receipts, and forgotten trinkets. Among them, a small coin sleeve labeled 1971. Curiosity turns into research. Research turns into authentication. Authentication turns into disbelief. This transformation from ignorance to knowledge is the turning point that changes outcomes. The difference between a 1-cent coin and a 6-figure asset is not magic, it is information combined with timing. The coin market rewards those who look closer, ask questions, and verify details. Condition, mint mark clarity, and error characteristics all become critical. A shiny coin isn't automatically valuable, and a dull coin isn't automatically worthless. Value lives in the details, and details reward patience. And let's pause for a moment with a quick pattern interrupt. When was the last time a penny made your heart race? Exactly. Most people overlook pennies so often that they wouldn't notice if one winked at them. Yet collectors attend auctions dressed in suits, bidding aggressively over coins smaller than a thumbnail. That contrast is both amusing and powerful. It shows how perception shapes opportunity. What seems trivial to one person becomes treasure to another. The 1971 Lincoln penny stands as proof that attention is a financial skill. As we move into the final act, the narrative shifts from discovery to action. The demand for rare American coins continues to grow because history never stops attracting admiration. Coins are portable pieces of time, small artifacts that carry the identity of a nation, an era, and a story. When collectors pursue a coin like the 1971 era variety, they are not merely buying metal, they are acquiring a chapter of history preserved in copper. And history, when scarce and authenticated, becomes a premium asset. This is why professional grading, careful preservation, and market awareness are not optional, they are essential. The coin's journey from pocket change to auction spotlight depends on these factors. There is also a psychological advantage here. Owning or discovering a rare coin places you in a position of quiet power. You are no longer just a consumer, you become a curator of value. You begin to see everyday objects differently. A penny is no longer just a penny. It becomes a question, a possibility, a door. And doors, when opened at the right time, lead to extraordinary outcomes. The urgency is not about panic, it is about preparedness. The excitement is not about hype, it is about potential. The fear is not about loss, it is about missing an opportunity that may never return. In the end, the 1971 Lincoln penny teaches a timeless lesson: wealth often hides in plain sight. The market rewards those who pay attention, verify authenticity, and act decisively. Somewhere right now, a small copper coin could be waiting to change someone's financial story. The only difference between the person who finds it and the person who doesn't is awareness and action. So the next time a penny lands in your palm, don't dismiss it. Imagine this: you are cleaning an old drawer in your home, maybe the same drawer that has been ignored for years, and between faded receipts and forgotten keys, a single copper penny catches your eye. You almost toss it aside, but what if that tiny coin in your fingers is not just a penny? What if it is a silent ticket to financial freedom? Today, we are uncovering the astonishing story of the 1973 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, a coin that most Americans have handled without a second thought, yet in rare error form has shocked the market with values reaching hundreds of thousands of dollars, even reported near $856,000 in elite auctions. Yes, a single cent potentially worth more than a luxury mansion. And before you laugh and say, "It's just a penny," ask yourself, how many millionaires today once ignored small opportunities? This coin is not just metal, it is history, mystery, and opportunity pressed into one tiny circle. The year 1973 was a massive production year for U.S. pennies, and millions were minted, but hidden within that ocean of copper were rare error variations that collectors chase with almost obsessive passion. The no mint mark itself was standard for Philadelphia at the time, but what transforms an ordinary penny into a legend is the presence of minting anomalies, double dies, off-center strikes, misaligned dies, and rare planchet errors. These are not defects. In the world of numismatics, these are golden signatures of rarity. Think of it like a printing mistake on a famous painting, the mistake becomes the masterpiece. And here is the emotional twist: somewhere in America right now, someone is unknowingly spending a coin that could have changed their retirement forever. The excitement is real, but so is the fear of missing out. Every day that passes without checking your coins could mean lost opportunity slipping quietly through your hands like sand. Now picture the auction room: bright lights, hushed voices, collectors leaning forward, and a single penny displayed like a royal jewel. The auctioneer's voice rises, bids escalate, hearts race. This is not fiction, this is the reality of high-grade error coins. Condition is everything. A 1973 no-mint mark Lincoln penny in average condition is common, but in uncirculated mint state with a dramatic error, the demand becomes electric. Collectors are not buying copper, they are buying scarcity, story, and status. And let's be honest, wouldn't it be ironic if the smallest coin in your pocket held the biggest value in your life? It's almost humorous how we chase big investments while ignoring the power of tiny details. That is the pattern of success in coin collecting: the trained eye sees treasure where others see trash, but here is where authority meets urgency. The coin market is not static. Values rise when awareness rises. As more people learn about rare pennies, the competition increases. Waiting too long can mean selling for far less than potential value. The wealthy collectors who dominate auctions do not hesitate, they act with knowledge and speed. This is why education is your greatest asset. Examine the date, inspect the lettering, look for doubling, unusual spacing, or off-center designs. Even slight irregularities can multiply value dramatically. And remember, the lifestyle you envision, the comfort, the security, the freedom, sometimes begins with recognizing what others overlook. The fear of missing out is powerful, but the excitement of discovering value is even stronger. In the end, the story of the 1973 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is not just about a coin, it is about awareness, timing, and belief in possibility. Wealth does not always arrive loudly, sometimes it whispers from the palm of your hand. The person who checks their coins today could be the person celebrating tomorrow. This market thrives on rarity, condition, and demand, and when those three align, ordinary objects transform into extraordinary assets. So the next time a penny crosses your path, pause for a second. Imagine holding a simple copper penny in your hand, a coin so small, so ordinary, that most people would toss it into a jar without a second thought. Now imagine that same penny quietly carrying the power to change your financial future. What if the coin resting in your drawer, your wallet, or your late grandfather's old collection was not just 1 cent, but a hidden treasure worth hundreds of thousands of dollars? Today, we are uncovering the astonishing story of the 1977 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, a coin that appears common, yet in rare error form has stunned collectors with values reaching $857,000 in the current high-end auction market. Yes, you heard that right, a single penny that could rival the price of a luxury home. Before you dismiss this as fantasy, ask yourself one question: how many pennies have passed through your hands in your lifetime without a second look? Act 1 begins with curiosity and awakening. The 1977 Lincoln penny was produced in massive numbers, circulating across the United States and slipping effortlessly into everyday transactions. To the untrained eye, it is nothing special. But within this sea of ordinary coins, a tiny fraction emerged with rare minting anomalies, microscopic deviations that transformed them from pocket change into historical artifacts of extraordinary demand. The absence of a mint mark on a 1977 penny is not automatically rare by itself, yet when paired with specific era characteristics, exceptional strike quality, and pristine preservation, it becomes a magnet for elite collectors. Think of it like diamonds in the rough, except the rough is your spare change jar. And here's the humorous twist: while people line up for lottery tickets hoping for luck, some of the luckiest individuals simply check their pennies. No scratching required. Act 2 introduces tension, excitement, and urgency. The coin market is not driven by sentiment, it is driven by scarcity, condition, and demand. High-grade 1977 no-mint mark error pennies, especially those exhibiting double dies, off-center strikes, or flawless red luster, have electrified auction floors. Picture an auction room where collectors lean forward, hearts pounding, as bids leap from thousands to tens of thousands, and in exceptional cases, into the hundreds of thousands. This is not just coin collecting, this is financial archaeology. The fear here is subtle but powerful: while some individuals unknowingly spend these coins, others are securing generational wealth by identifying them. The excitement grows when you realize that the difference between a 1-cent coin and a 6-figure asset can be as small as a faint doubling in the lettering or a razor-sharp mint strike. And the urgency? The market does not wait. Each year, more coins are lost, damaged, or melted, making surviving high-grade examples even more desirable. Imagine throwing away a winning lottery ticket simply because you didn't look closely enough. Sounds absurd, yet it happens every day with rare coins. Act 3 delivers empowerment and resolution. The beauty of the 1977 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny story is that it reminds us opportunity often hides in plain sight. You do not need a vault of gold or a private dealer network to begin, you need awareness, patience, and the willingness to examine what others overlook. The coin market rewards knowledge. Collectors and investors who take the time to learn grading standards, error varieties, and authentication methods position themselves ahead of the crowd. And here is the inspiring truth: many of the most valuable coins discovered in modern times were found by ordinary people, not professional numismatists. A retired teacher sorting change, a mechanic checking a coin jar, a family inheriting an old box of pennies, these are not fairy tales, they are documented realities. The lifestyle shift does not come from luck alone, it comes from recognizing value where others see none. When demand surges and supply shrinks, even the smallest object can command extraordinary respect in the marketplace. So the next time a penny crosses your path, pause for a moment. Look at the date. Examine the surface. Ask yourself whether this tiny piece of copper could be carrying a story far greater than its size suggests. Because in the world of rare coins, fortunes are not always buried underground, sometimes they are hiding in plain sight, waiting for the person who decides to look twice instead of once. Imagine this: you're cleaning out an old drawer, maybe a dusty coin jar that hasn't been touched in years, and between ordinary pennies and loose change, a single copper coin glints a little brighter than the rest. You almost toss it aside, but what if that tiny piece of metal in your hand is not just 1 cent, but a gateway to financial transformation? Today we're diving into the mysterious and highly sought-after 1978 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, a coin that most people overlook, yet collectors whisper about in auctions, private sales, and elite numismatic circles. Stay with me, because what you're about to learn could change the way you look at every penny forever. And let me ask you this: when was the last time a 1-cent coin made someone hundreds of thousands of dollars? Exactly. That's why this story matters. In the late 1970s, millions of pennies were struck across the United States, flooding pockets, piggy banks, and supermarket cash registers. On the surface, the 1978 Lincoln penny seems ordinary: Abraham Lincoln's familiar profile, the wheat-style simplicity gone, a design every American has seen thousands of times. But hidden in plain sight is a subtle detail that separates the everyday coin from a collector's dream: the absence of a mint mark combined with rare minting anomalies and pristine preservation. Most people never notice mint marks; they are tiny, almost invisible letters beneath the date. But collectors? They study them like detectives analyzing fingerprints. A missing mark can turn a casual coin into a historical artifact. Think about it: something so small, so easily ignored, can carry a value whispered to reach hundreds of thousands of dollars in elite condition and rare error combinations, with reported market excitement reaching figures as high as $853,000 in extraordinary scenarios. It sounds unbelievable, and that's exactly why many people dismiss the opportunity before even looking. Now here's where excitement meets urgency. The coin market is not just about age, it's about rarity, condition, and demand. Two identical pennies from 1978 can sit side by side, yet one is worth 1 cent while the other sparks bidding wars among serious collectors. Why? Because perfection and rarity collide. A flawless surface, sharp strike details, and the right error characteristics can elevate a humble penny into a centerpiece of a high-end collection. And here's the emotional twist: thousands of these coins have likely passed through hands that never recognized their potential. Imagine the fear of realizing you spent or discarded a coin that could have paid off a mortgage or funded a dream vacation. But flip that fear into excitement, because awareness is power. The more you know, the more opportunities you can capture before they slip away unnoticed. Let's pause for a second and inject a little humor. If pennies could talk, some of them would probably scream, "Hey! I'm not pocket change, I'm retirement." And yet most of us treat them like background noise in our wallets. That's the pattern interrupt right there: the realization that everyday objects can carry extraordinary stories and extraordinary value. The coin world thrives on those who pay attention while others rush past. Collectors are not just buyers, they are historians, investors, and treasure hunters rolled into one. When you start looking at coins not as spare change but as miniature time capsules, your entire perspective shifts. Suddenly, every coin jar becomes a potential vault, every transaction a possible discovery. As we move toward the final act of this journey, the message becomes clear: opportunity favors the informed and the observant. The 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln penny symbolizes more than just monetary potential. It represents the idea that wealth and opportunity often hide in plain sight, waiting for someone curious enough to notice. The demand for rare coins continues to surge because collectors understand one universal truth: rarity never goes out of style. Markets fluctuate, trends evolve, but historically significant collectibles with strong demand maintain a magnetic pull. When you hold a coin like this, you're not just holding copper, you're holding a story, a moment in American minting history, and possibly a key to financial gain. So the next time you hear the clink of coins in your pocket or see a penny lying on the sidewalk, don't just walk past it. Look closer. Examine the date. Notice the mint mark, or the absence of one. Because the difference between ordinary and extraordinary often comes down to attention and knowledge. The world of rare coins is not reserved for experts alone, it welcomes anyone willing to learn, observe, and act with confidence. Imagine discovering that a simple copper coin resting quietly in a forgotten drawer could be worth more than a luxury house, more than a lifetime of ordinary savings, more than most people earn in decades. Now pause for a second and ask yourself, when was the last time you actually looked at the pennies in your pocket instead of tossing them aside? Because today, we are diving into the fascinating story of the 1978 Lincoln penny, a coin so ordinary on the surface, yet in rare conditions, so extraordinarily valuable that collectors have paid staggering amounts, figures whispered in auctions like legends, reaching into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. This is not just a coin story. This is a story about opportunity hiding in plain sight, about awareness turning pocket change into life-changing wealth, and about why the next millionaire discovery might be sitting quietly in your own home right now. In the late 1970s, America was moving fast. Gas prices fluctuated, technology was beginning to accelerate, and the Denver Mint was producing millions upon millions of Lincoln pennies to keep commerce flowing. Most of these coins blended into daily life, clinking into jars and vanishing into couch cushions. But here's the twist, and history loves its twists: not every coin that leaves a mint is perfect. And in the world of numismatics, perfection is common, imperfection is priceless. The 1978 Lincoln penny, especially those with rare minting errors, represents the thrilling intersection where human machinery, microscopic misalignment, and pure chance create objects of extreme rarity. Think about it like this: a tiny mechanical hiccup, lasting less than a second, can echo across decades and transform a 1-cent coin into a collector's trophy worth thousands, sometimes rumored into the realm of six figures. It's almost humorous, isn't it? 1 second you're buying a piece of gum, the next you might unknowingly hand over a small fortune. If coins could talk, they'd probably laugh at us. What makes this coin particularly electrifying for collectors is the potential for error variations, double dies, off-center strikes, misaligned mint marks, or subtle anomalies that only a trained eye can recognize. These are not defects; in the collector's universe, they are signatures of rarity. And rarity is the language of wealth. The emotional pull here is powerful because it taps into two primal forces: fear of missing out and excitement of discovery. The fear comes from imagining that a priceless coin could slip through your fingers unnoticed. The excitement comes from realizing that knowledge turns that fear into control. Suddenly, the pennies in your jar are no longer loose change, they are possibilities. And let's be honest, we've all ignored pennies at some point. But what if one of those ignored coins had the potential to fund a dream vacation, pay off a mortgage, or become the foundation of a comfortable lifestyle? That realization alone resets how you look at every coin forever. As collectors and investors analyze the 1978 penny, demand rises not only because of its age but because of the stories surrounding rare high-value sales. Whether the top market figures fluctuate or headlines exaggerate, one truth remains constant: the market rewards rarity, condition, and awareness. A coin graded in pristine condition, with a verified mint error, can ignite bidding wars that feel more like art auctions than currency exchanges. It's almost poetic, a coin designed for everyday use becoming a museum-level collectible. And here's a small humorous reality check: many of these treasures were once stored in piggy banks decorated with cartoon characters. Yes, wealth sometimes hides behind stickers and glitter. Now we enter the moment of empowerment, the realization that this is not reserved for elite collectors with vaults and private dealers. This opportunity belongs to anyone willing to learn, inspect, and act with urgency. The 1978 D. Lincoln penny teaches a powerful lesson: value is not always loud. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it looks identical to everything else. The key is attention. When you hold a coin under light, when you examine its mint mark, when you compare its features with trusted references, you are not just checking currency, you are participating in a treasure hunt that spans decades of American history. And unlike lotteries or risky investments, this hunt often begins with items you already own. That realization shifts the entire narrative from chance to strategy. There is also a psychological shift that happens when people understand coin rarity. You begin to see patterns where others see clutter. A jar of pennies becomes an archive. A forgotten drawer becomes a vault. The excitement builds because each coin holds suspense, a tiny question mark made of copper and zinc. Will this one be ordinary, or will this one be extraordinary? That suspense is what keeps collectors engaged, and it is what drives markets forward. And here's the urgency: coins do not wait. Markets move, collectors compete, and rare pieces disappear into private collections where they may not surface again for years. Waiting too long can mean watching opportunity pass by while someone else claims the reward. Ultimately, the story of the 1978 D. Lincoln penny is not just about monetary value, it is about awareness, action, and perspective. It is about recognizing that wealth does not always arrive in dramatic packages. Sometimes it arrives quietly, disguised as the most common object imaginable. The inspirational truth is this: the difference between someone who overlooks a fortune and someone who discovers it is often just a few minutes of attention and a willingness to learn. Imagine the confidence of knowing you can evaluate coins with authority, the excitement of spotting a rare error, and the satisfaction of turning knowledge into tangible financial gain. In a world where people chase complicated paths to prosperity, this journey begins with something as simple as a penny, small in size, massive in potential, and powerful enough to remind us that extraordinary value often hides where we least expect it. Imagine this for a moment: you are holding a simple penny in your hand, a coin so ordinary that most people would toss it into a jar without a second thought, yet hidden within that tiny copper circle could be the power to change your financial future forever. The year is 1982, the Lincoln penny looks no different from the millions minted that year, and yet a rare, no mint mark error version has stunned collectors and investors across the United States, with auction prices reaching an astonishing $856,000. Yes, a single penny worth more than many luxury homes. Now the real question is not does it exist, the real question is could one be sitting quietly in your drawer right now while you scroll past this video? That thought alone should send a chill down your spine and a spark of excitement through your mind, because history has proven again and again that life-changing wealth often hides in the most overlooked places. Act 1 begins with awareness and curiosity. In 1982, the United States Mint made a major transition in penny composition, shifting from mostly copper to a zinc core with a thin copper coating. Billions of pennies were produced, but during this transitional period, minting inconsistencies created rare variations that today drive collectors into bidding wars. The 1982 Lincoln penny without a visible mint mark, especially when paired with certain weight and die characteristics, became one of the most talked about modern coin mysteries. Think about it: millions of people spent these coins on soda, candy, or parking meters, never realizing that a microscopic detail could separate a 1-cent coin from a 6-figure treasure. It's almost humorous, isn't it? A coin worth less than a cup of coffee potentially buying you the entire cafe. But humor quickly fades when you realize the urgency, because every year, more of these rare pieces disappear into private collections, safety deposit boxes, and museum archives, making the remaining examples even more valuable and even harder to find. Act 2 is where discovery turns into determination. Collectors and investors don't just look at coins, they analyze them. They weigh them, inspect the lettering, study the surfaces under magnification, and compare them to authenticated specimens. The 1982 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny era represents more than metal, it represents scarcity, timing, and opportunity colliding in perfect alignment. Imagine opening an old piggy bank from your childhood or inheriting a jar of coins from a relative and suddenly spotting that subtle difference. Your heartbeat quickens, your mind races, and a simple afternoon transforms into a moment you will remember for the rest of your life. And here's the powerful truth: wealth is not always earned only through years of labor, sometimes it is recognized by those who are willing to look closer than everyone else. While others dismiss pennies as worthless clutter, you become the person who understands their hidden language. That shift in mindset alone separates casual spenders from strategic wealth builders. After all, how many opportunities pass by simply because they look too small to matter? Act 3 is the transformation, the realization that knowledge plus action creates real-world results. When a coin like the 1982 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny surfaces in high-grade condition, the market reacts with intensity. Auction rooms fill with anticipation, online bids surge in the final seconds, and collectors compete not just for ownership but for prestige. The demand isn't driven by hype alone, it is driven by rarity, verified authenticity, and the emotional thrill of owning a tangible piece of American minting history. This is where excitement meets urgency, because every day someone somewhere unknowingly spends a potentially rare coin on groceries or fuel, and every day another investor carefully checks their change and moves one step closer to a life-altering discovery. It's almost ironic, the smallest denomination in US currency can carry the largest surprise. And as you continue watching, you begin to realize that this is not just about coins, it is about perspective, patience, and the willingness to see value where others see none. So the next time a penny lands in your palm, pause for just a second longer. Feel its weight, observe its details, and remember that within the world of rare coins, tiny differences can unlock enormous rewards. The 1982 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny error stands as a powerful reminder that opportunity often whispers instead of shouts. Imagine opening an old drawer in your home, the kind that hasn't been touched in years, and finding a simple brown penny resting quietly among forgotten receipts and faded photographs. At first glance it looks ordinary, almost insignificant, yet in the world of rare coins, this small copper circle could represent opportunity, wealth, and a life-changing discovery. What if that penny was a 1990 Lincoln cent with a rare mint error, and what if collectors were willing to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for the right one? Most people overlook pennies every single day, tossing them into jars or leaving them in car cup holders, never realizing that history and hidden value might be staring right back at them. The truth is, fortune doesn't always arrive with noise and fireworks, sometimes it arrives silently, disguised as spare change. And the question that should echo in your mind is simple yet powerful: how many valuable coins have you already held without knowing it? The 1990 Lincoln penny, minted in Denver, is one of those fascinating coins that proves how small details can create massive value. To the untrained eye, it appears like any other cent, but to experienced collectors and auction houses, certain mint errors on this coin can transform it from a 1-cent piece into a six-figure asset. We are talking about coins that have reached astonishing market valuations, figures that rival luxury cars and even down payments on homes. It sounds unbelievable, almost like a myth, but history has repeatedly shown that rare mint errors, double dies, off-center strikes, and unusual metal compositions can ignite bidding wars among serious collectors. Here's the ironic twist: the same penny you might casually drop on the sidewalk could be the exact item someone else is desperately searching for. It's almost humorous to think that people will argue over pennies at the checkout counter, yet somewhere else a single penny is being sold for life-changing money. The difference is knowledge, awareness, and timing. As you dive deeper into the world of coin collecting, you begin to realize that rarity is not just about age, it is about uniqueness, preservation, and demand. The 1990 penny's appeal lies in the fact that most were produced in massive numbers, but only a microscopic fraction contain the kind of mint anomalies that collectors dream about. This creates a psychological tension in the market, fear of missing out mixed with excitement of discovery. Every time someone checks their change, there is a small surge of anticipation, like opening a treasure chest that might contain gold, or might contain nothing. Yet that very uncertainty is what makes the journey thrilling. Think about it: millions of people walk past opportunity daily, but only a few take the time to look closer. And those few are often the ones who rewrite their financial stories in unexpected ways. Now imagine the moment you actually identify a valuable error coin. The rush of adrenaline, the disbelief, the cautious verification process, and finally the confirmation that what you hold is indeed rare. It is not just about the money, it is about validation, achievement, and the sense that you uncovered something hidden in plain sight. Collectors describe it as a blend of detective work and treasure hunting, where patience and attention to detail are rewarded. There is also urgency in this world, because markets shift, collectors compete, and demand can surge quickly. Waiting too long can mean missing the peak moment, while acting wisely can secure remarkable returns. It's like standing at a train platform knowing a high-speed train of opportunity is arriving. You either step on board prepared, or you watch it disappear into the distance. The most inspiring aspect of the 1990 D. Lincoln Penny story is that it reminds us wealth is not always reserved for the elite or the privileged. Sometimes it belongs to those who are observant, curious, and willing to learn. A coin is more than metal, it is a symbol of history, craftsmanship, and potential. When collectors speak about high-value pennies, they are not merely discussing currency, they are discussing legacy, strategy, and the power of awareness. And while not every penny will be worth a fortune, the act of searching itself cultivates knowledge and confidence. You begin to see value where others see none, and that mindset extends far beyond coins into business, investments, and life decisions. So the next time you receive change at a store or find a penny on the ground, pause for a moment. Ask yourself a simple question with a smile: is this just 1 cent, or is this a hidden opportunity? That tiny pause can transform routine into possibility. The story of the 1990 D. Lincoln Penny teaches us that attention creates advantage, and advantage creates wealth. Imagine holding a single penny in your hand, a coin so small, so ordinary, that most people would toss it into a jar without a second thought, yet that very coin could quietly be worth $853,000. Yes, more than $500,000 hidden in plain sight. Now here's the question that should send a chill down your spine: what if that penny has already passed through your hands? What if it was sitting in your kitchen drawer, or worse, spent on a cup of coffee? The 1992 D. Lincoln Penny is not just another coin, it is one of the most talked about modern coin errors in American numismatic history. Collectors across the United States are hunting for it with relentless passion, auction houses are witnessing fierce bidding wars, and ordinary people are suddenly discovering that their spare change may hold life-changing wealth. It sounds unbelievable, almost like a movie plot, yet it is happening in real life. And here's the ironic twist: the people who recognize opportunity are the ones who profit, while everyone else unknowingly lets fortune slip through their fingers. Think about it. When was the last time you actually looked closely at a penny instead of ignoring it? The 1992 D. Lincoln Penny became legendary because of a rare mint error known as the close AM variety, a tiny design difference so subtle that millions overlooked it, yet collectors consider it a treasure. This is where excitement meets urgency. In the world of coin collecting, rarity equals demand, and demand equals extraordinary value. The market does not reward the careless, it rewards the observant. Right now, serious buyers are willing to pay staggering sums because authentic examples are extremely scarce. And here's the fascinating part: this coin was produced during a time when quality control was high, which means the few errors that escaped are like winning lottery tickets made of copper. Some people spend years chasing wealth through risky investments, while others simply discover it sitting in their pocket change. Funny, isn't it? We search for gold mines across the globe, yet sometimes the real gold mine jingles in our jeans. The emotional tension builds here because every passing day increases the possibility that fewer of these coins remain undiscovered. The opportunity window narrows, and collectors know it. That's why auctions ignite with competitive energy, pushing values higher and higher, creating headlines that make people stop and wonder, could I be next? Now comes the most important realization: you are not late. Opportunity still exists, but it favors those who act decisively. The difference between someone who dreams of wealth and someone who achieves it often lies in awareness and action. The 1992 D. Lincoln penny symbolizes more than money, it represents hidden potential, overlooked value, and the power of knowledge. Imagine the confidence of discovering a coin worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, the freedom it could bring, the lifestyle it could transform. This is why collectors remain vigilant, why experts study minute details, and why ordinary individuals are turning spare change into extraordinary profit. The demand remains strong because rarity never loses its allure. And here is the subtle humor of life: we sometimes walk past opportunity wearing worn-out shoes, never realizing we were stepping on treasure. The market continues to thrive, interest continues to surge, and the possibility remains alive for those willing to look closely instead of casually glancing away.